It is the very heart and soul of Miami, the crown jewel of South Florida's marine ecosystem that has bedazzled residents and visitors from all over the world for centuries. A lagoon and large estuary encompassing 428 square miles of sapphire waters, once teeming with wondrous creatures that to this day still inspire awe and reverence.
Everything that we were filming yesterday that was struggling is now dead.
But now scientists say South Florida's beautiful bay is suffocating.
So sad.
Dying right before our eyes. And its fish and marine life are slowly disappearing. The meadows of tall seagrass that once dominated the bottom of the northern bay, almost all gone. Today, Biscayne Bay is literally on life support.
Hello everybody, I'm Louis Aguirre. I'm joining you from onboard Seakeeper's Discovery Yacht Phantom on the waters of our beautiful Biscayne Bay. I'm here with a dedicated team of scientists and researchers from FIU's Institute of the Environment trying to solve a mystery. In the second week of August, something happened to our beloved bay that's never happened before. A devastating phenomenon that should serve as a warning sign of what we stand to lose if we don't act now and commit 100% towards saving Biscayne Bay.
On a hot, early August Monday, Morningside artist Catherine Mikesell set out for her usual sunrise swim on Biscayne Bay, just feet from her home.
And we stepped into the water and we noticed that the floor of the bay was littered with dead fish.
In all her 20 years of living on the bay, Catherine had never seen anything like it.
All of a sudden we were looking around us and we realized that we were in a sea of dead fish of all different types of fish and all different sizes. We just started like literally picking up fish and pushing fish away from us, and we're like, oh my goodness, that something is wrong.
Something was most definitely wrong. A massive fish kill on the open waters of Biscayne Bay. Thousands of fish and other small marine animals floating on the water and littering the shore.
Look at all the fish on this board right now. It's crazy. Pufferfish, seahorses, eels, stingrays.
This fish kill was absolutely heartbreaking. It was the first time we ever saw an event like this in Biscayne Bay.
The environmental nonprofit Miami Waterkeeper has been watching over and advocating for South Florida waterways for 10 years, their phones and emails blowing up with hundreds of devastating images.
It was completely unprecedented. We saw hundreds, if not thousands, of fish of more than 40 different species we've counted so far roll up onto the shores, dead and dying in Biscayne Bay.
This is what we're losing, and if we lose that, we lose these guys. We lose everything out here.
Miami Waterkeeper quickly mobilized, sampling the water, analyzing for toxins.
All right, let's go.
FIU's Institute of the Environment deploying scientists, researchers, and students into the bay, armed with the latest technology. The data coming back was ominous.
At 10 o'clock last night, the oxygen went to zero, and it stayed the whole night. It was zero for the entire night.
We're seeing what are likely unprecedented levels of low oxygen in Biscayne Bay over a really wide area, so big that the fish can't swim away from it before they're suffocating and dying.
This is crazy, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. To have this volume of fish looking for oxygen, they're almost air gulping over there.
It was exactly as scientists and environmentalists had foretold, warning leaders years ago that the bay's seagrass beds were disappearing at an alarming rate.
This is it. This is what we've been warning about, and we're starting to see fish die. We've already seen our seagrass die, and this is the big red flashing arrow that we have a problem.
Researchers say that week, water temperatures were 5 degrees warmer than usual. There was no wind, no circulation in the bay, and heavy rainfall in July. It was a perfect storm.
As long as temperatures keep rising, as long as we continue to have sources of, pollutants like through septic systems and stuff, Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to keep happening.
For 5 days, the bay was in crisis, with hundreds of dead fish washing up daily on the shores from as far north as Oneida State Park down to Virginia Key. The scene was heartbreaking.
I'm tired of seeing this. And we all have to do something to make this place a better place, and we need a vote.
To save as much marine life as possible, Miami Waterkeeper launched a Hail Mary Pass, collaborating with Port Miami, deploying 2 Miami-Dade fireboats into the bay to aerate the water and provide relief.
Basically, what the jets are doing is they're sucking up the low oxygen water from the water column, adding oxygen to it, and then just shooting it right back into the bay, giving marine life more oxygen to breathe.
The Hail Mary worked. UM marine scientist Dr. Chris Langdon was in the water in his kayak.
Was there a difference? Did it help?
It did, absolutely, it helped.
Really?
I was right out in the spray for 30 minutes. It was fun. And the oxygen levels, were coming right up. It really helped pretty quickly.
City of Miami followed suit, installing 3 pumps along the western shore from Morningside to Edgewater and sending the city's scavenger vessel to aerate the South Bay near Brickell to prevent the fish kill from spreading.
So we're treating the symptoms, we're giving the bay some Tylenol, but we are not solving the actual problem.
Then, just days later, another blow.
It's a mess. Look at this.
Plumes of algae seen stretching for miles from the Sans Souci canals in North Miami all the way south to North Bay Village. The bay itself now gasping for breath.
We are dangerously close to losing seagrasses, becoming an algal-dominated system, and then these fish kills are just going to be every day.
Scientists say it will take decades to recover all the marine life that was lost. But the damage to the bay was already present way before the crisis. How did we get here? Why did we let it get so bad? More importantly, how do we fix it? The answers when we come back.
Local 10 Saving Biscayne Bay is sponsored by Cutler Bay Solar Solutions. Let the sun power your lifestyle.
It was a 1-2 punch to the gut. The scenario scientists feared was happening. First the fish kill, then as we were shooting this project.
Yeah, this is the last thing that Biscayne Bay needed, not even a week after bouncing back from that devastating fish kill. This is bad.
A devastating, widespread algae bloom.
The hard truth is that we've known the water quality of Biscayne Bay has been declining for a long time now. Years of neglect and inaction have gotten us to where we are. Scientists and environmentalists have warned Biscayne Bay is at a critical tipping point.
The tipping point we're worried about here is that the seagrasses are dying off, and the algae that are responsible for much of the oxygen depletion that we've just seen are going to take over.
Before Miami was settled almost 200 years ago, Biscayne Bay was brilliant blue, with gin-clear waters and thick meadows of lush turtle grass that carpeted the bottom, fed the manatees, and provided a healthy habitat for all the baby fish, lobster, and conch. The seagrass thrived because there were little nutrients in the water to feed competing plants. But researchers say all that changed when we dredged the bottom of the bay, built causeways and artificial islands, and disrupted the natural flow of fresh water from the Everglades by digging a system of intricate canals to stop our homes and streets from flooding. What's worse, we've been inadvertently fertilizing the bay for the past 100 years, throwing it off balance.
And that basically fertilizes the plants. It causes the plants to grow, and it causes weedy species to grow even faster than the desirable species.
Dr. Jim Forkran is a leading seagrass expert at FIU's Institute of the Environment.
I was not expecting the seagrasses that we see here. These are basically all dead seagrasses.
Documenting the seagrass die-off in Biscayne Bay.
And in those areas, which is where we saw the fish kill, how much seagrass have we lost?
Almost all of it.
Almost all of it?
Almost all of it.
So we're not at a point yet in South Florida we're about to lose all our seagrass.
We are not. It's dying from the north to the south in the Biscayne Bay system.
Nutrients, nitrogen, and especially phosphorus that seep into our groundwater from Miami-Dade's more than 100,000 home septic tanks that scientists warn are constantly leaking wastewater into our system. Many of those tanks are obsolete, dislodged by rising sea levels due to climate change.
There's no reason for me, this is a relatively affluent neighborhood, for me to be on septic tank when I know that the nutrients I put into my septic tank are just going out into the groundwater and ending up in Biscayne Bay.
Dr. Forkgren, like so many other scientists we spoke to, stress the need to transition all Miami-Dade septic homes to sewer lines has never been more urgent. And so is the need to fix our aging sewer system.
People are rushing around.
Had to remove sand and water. Crews rushed to make repairs to another break.
A recent rash of sewer spills have compromised the health of our bay. In August of 2019, a break in a corroded line spewed over 1 million gallons of raw sewage into the Oleta River and into Biscayne Bay.
Miami just grew too big too fast for the infrastructure we have.
After being sued by the EPA and the state, in 2013, Miami-Dade Water Sewer pledged to invest $1.6 billion to upgrade the county sewer system by 2028. For Biscayne Bay, that can't happen soon enough. When it rains, it not only pours, it dumps right into our fragile bay. Our storm drains have insufficient grates and no filtration. And during heavy rains, a lot of the trash that people just throw out into the streets gets flushed into our storm drains that flow right into our canal system. And this is what that looks like. Teo Quine is a 20-year-old filmmaker turned eco-activist,
and this is the issue
documenting all the challenges Biscayne Bay is up against.
What happens is the city implemented these boom systems as a way to try and stop the trash from getting to this point. Obviously, you can see it's not working very well.
Our addiction to plastic is strangling our oceans and waterways. At the current rate of consumption, the World Economic Forum, a nonprofit foundation, estimates that in just 30 years, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish by weight.
So all that's getting through.
All of this is getting
regardless.
through. And you see there's a little bit of current right now, but when the rain comes in the summertime and it dumps, they have no choice but to open these. All of this stuff literally just shoots straight onto the bay.
This is all cans, plastic bottles.
It is dirty water, filled not only with pollutants from the streets, but wastewater from sewage spills and septic leaks, and nutrients from fertilizer runoff packed with nitrogen and phosphorus, which we use to feed our lawns and crops, but which also kills the seagrass and feeds the algae.
And I don't think people really understood that when they dump insecticides and they fertilize their gardens, that matters to Biscayne Bay, because there's just a little plot of land in their backyards. But there's 100,000 of those little plots of land. That all comes straight to the bay.
The prognosis is bleak. This will not be an easy fix. The problems Biscayne Bay is facing are serious and complex.
When we come back...
Are those canals that are in there?
Yes,
those
the
canals that are
yeah.
running? Yeah, it's pretty disgusting to look at.
How our leaders are now confronting the crisis.
This will not be solved in the snap of a finger.
We have like 3/4 of a tank.
10 days after the start of the fish kill.
There's a very important issue.
We're opening eyes and raising the red flags.
All right, let's go.
The mission has been relentless. We shadow a team of scientists from FIU's Institute of the Environment.
All right, so let's lower the gate.
They've been on the water every day,
Echo sounder looks good.
trying to get to the bottom of why this happened.
Is the bay getting better?
Hard to say.
The scientists agree. This was a low oxygen event caused by a combination of factors: warmer water temps, poor circulation, and the extraordinary amount of nutrients from land-based pollution that continue to flow into the watershed. But where exactly did this spark?
All right, we've got one more to do, right on the other bridge.
All the data kept pointing to two conspicuous sites.
We will see if there's any movement of the material or any flux coming from the Little River north.
The outflow of the two canals we saw before full of trash, the Little River Canal and the Biscayne Canal in the northern section. While the rest of the bay had begun to bounce back, oxygen levels here, even 10 days later, were still dangerously low.
But I understand from the other vessel that when you got under the water about a meter or so, things got much worse.
how could this much pollution end up in water that sooner or later would flow into Biscayne Bay?
Are those canals that are in there?
Yeah,
Are
those are
canals that are
yeah.
running. Yeah, that's pretty disgusting to look at. I mean, I don't think there's a single person that looks at that and goes, oh, you know what?
That's okay.
That's great.
Scott Wagner is the vice chair of the South Florida Water Management Board that regulates how and when canals outflow water into the bay. He was appointed by Governor Ron DeSantis in March of 2019, replacing Governor Rick Scott's board. The former governor had slashed $700 million from water management districts statewide, greatly reducing oversight. Wagner says those days are over.
You know, you have a real gut check when you see those kind of pictures. You say to yourself, well, we got to do something about it. There's funding. There are people that are involved on both sides of the aisle. You know, for the first time, it really feels like people are coming together on the environment.
We have no time left. It's now or never.
In 2017, a local fisherman, Dan Kipnis, addressed the Miami-Dade County Commission to sound the alarm about the decline of seagrass in the bay and the dwindling fisheries.
You can see the historical coverage. Here's what's left, and that's not solid coverage.
2 years later, both NOAA and a grand jury report from the Dade State Attorney's Office published similar dire warnings. The seagrass was dying fast, and algae was taking over. So why wasn't urgent action taken to correct it?
We have a problem. I'm not going to say it's an emergency right now.
But shouldn't we be acting with more urgency?
We're going to identify the problem and then establish the right solutions, which this is going to be a long-term issue. You're not going to snap your fingers, and it's not going to get better, because it took a long time for it to get to this condition.
But the clock is ticking.
It is clear to everyone that the health of Biscayne Bay is in a state of emergency.
Louis Aguirre is the chair of the Biscayne Bay Task Force appointed by the county in 2019. After 18 months, the report was at last presented to the county commission, an urgent and final call to make the restoration of Biscayne Bay a top priority, with over 60 recommendations the county must take right now.
This is a very important day for Miami-Dade County.
Crucial will be the naming of a chief bay officer and management board to monitor water quality in the bay and take aggressive action to restore it. The commission overwhelmingly passing resolutions to move this forward, recognizing that without a healthy bay, there is no healthy economy.
This problem is something that we have to address once and for all.
We have a solid report here today and look forward to implementing the recommendations.
I think it's paramount on us to be able to work on this.
Do we have the political will to move this forward? Does that exist right now?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. I think the task force is a good step forward.
Some municipalities have already taken their own actions, like banning plastic straws and plastic bags. Key Biscayne, North Bay Village, and the city of Miami all passed ordinances that ban fertilizers in the summer months and 15 feet near a body of water to avoid those nutrients running off into the bay. City of Miami also pledging to upgrade its storm drains to better filter out pollutants. Moves like that, scientists say, will help the bay recover.
Nature is so resilient. We can give Biscayne Bay the opportunity to bounce back if we get the appropriate mechanisms in place.
It's been done before. By the 1980s, Tampa Bay had lost 90% of its seagrass due to excess nitrogen. It took 40 years, but leaders across 3 counties, scientists and residents worked together to help the seagrasses come back.
They worked at this, and it was many, many years. It was at least 20 years before they saw a positive impact. And after 40 years, they made their restoration target.
People want to dissect the problems and say politicians didn't do this and the management people didn't do this. Well, now everybody cares and everybody is upset and everybody's scared. And that's what it takes. It's going to take us all now to be scared and react.
So we need to act and we need to talk and we need to fight.
The call to action heard loud and clear.
Save the bay!
Immediately following the fish kill, an army of concerned residents attacked the front lines, picking up all the dead fish.
I'm really hoping that this is the tipping point and the change.
And tons of trash littering the shores of the bay.
You know, we're just trying to be here, clean up as much as we can.
They're only in their 20s.
We can surf another day, because today, the ocean needs our help.
But they've been taking action long before the fish kill happened.
It's very frustrating that we are the generation that has to receive this. And we are the generation that is trying to fix it. Because the one that did this are doing absolutely nothing.
The dead fish have been picked up, and the algae bloom is over. But the threat still persists. The hope is that there's now more awareness and resolve to protect our beautiful bay.
Over the decades, we humans have disrupted the natural flow of this watershed. So we humans must repair the damage that we've done. And I say we because really it's up to all of us, not just our elected leaders, but we, the entire South Florida community, must commit to this very important mission. Choose courage, take bold action, and do whatever is necessary to save our precious Biscayne Bay. Nature has shown us she is resilient. She can bounce back if we just give her the chance to breathe. Thanks for watching.